Welcome to Habitly Courses, a production of Manage to Win. Each course is divided into multiple lessons for easy viewing. All are now completely free, so you can watch them on your own or work through them as a team. Please subscribe to this channel, leave a comment, and share your favorite lessons with others. Try to find something that helps you be your best.
Hello, this is David Russell. I'm back talking about experience bookends, how we start and end client interactions and also interactions with other people. And what I want to talk about in this lesson, lesson 4, is how to discern the communication behavioral preferences of yourself and the other person. Now, communication is critical as we interact with people. Obviously, we want to speak in a language they understand. If we speak English and they speak a different language, not going to work. We want to treat everyone with honor, dignity, and respect. We want to practice active listening at all times. I've gone through that before. We don't want to make assumptions. We want to confirm things. But what I want to focus on in this lesson is always speaking in the other person's preferred communication style. As some of you are saying, what's that? Well, communication style was developed decades ago, and it's called DISC, D-I-S-C. The D is dominance. That's how you handle problems and challenges. So if we're speaking with someone who is a high D, they're typically impatient. They have a sense of urgency. They want you to get to the point. And really what they want is summary information. What results can I expect? When's this going to be done? Those types of things. I is influencing. That's how you interact with other people. Now, a high I is an extrovert. They're friendly. They like to talk. So what we need to do with them is we have to set clear objectives. We got to summarize, and we've got to hold them accountable as well as ourselves. So we stay on track. Now, S is steadiness. That's how you handle pace and work environment. And the high S is a skeptic. So hear them out, build some time in there for rapport, provide a roadmap with logical reasons to change that avoid risk. That's the key there. C is compliance. That's how you respond to rules and procedures set by other people. The high C is an analytical. They would rather make no decision than make the wrong decision. So we need to reassure them with facts, give them time to analyze, and deliver on time. So I'm going to walk you through this. I'm going to ask you questions, although you've got exercises and scenarios later. So based on what I just described, and you're saying, oh no, I didn't pay enough attention. I'm going to go back for a moment. Look at this, and I'm giving you a summary, but I've gone through these things, I believe, before. Think about, you've got a high D impatient, so the low D is going to be patient. You've got a high I as an extrovert, low I is going to be introvert. High I is a skeptic, high S is a skeptic, low S is someone who's going to be more accommodating, easygoing. High C is an analytical, and the low C is going to be someone who's not detail-oriented. So keep this in mind. Let's kind of walk through it. So is this person a high or low D, I, S, or C? So you got 4 blanks there. Where does the high D, the high I, the high S, the high C belong? Think about that for a moment, and when you're ready to see the answer, turn to the next slide or restart this video if you want to stop it for a moment. I'm going to go on to the answer now. You can see. So introverts are high S's and high C's. Extroverts are typically high D's and high I's. These are generalities, but in general, that's the way it works. Okay, how about this? Where do the high D's, high I's, high S's, high C's fall here? Which one of them are task-oriented and which 2 are people-oriented? You ready? All right, I'll move to the next slide. You can see task-oriented, the D's and the C's. They're opposite in many ways behaviorally, but they're both task-oriented people. People-oriented are the I's and the S's. Once again, different. You got one that's an optimist and one that's a skeptic, but they are people-oriented, and that's the way they do things. Discerning the high or low D. So when you're thinking of this other person you're communicating with, do they get angry easily? Or does it take a lot to get them upset? Which do you think is the high D? Which do you think is the low D? Okay, here we go to the answer. Quick to answer is a high D. They're impatient. Remember, sense of urgency, slow to anger, low D. All right, what about discerning the high or low I? Are they an optimist or do they tend to be skeptical or negative? Usually they don't like to be called negative. What do you think? This should be pretty easy for you. Yep, optimist, high I, skeptic, low I. All right, what about the S? Now I'm going to go through a couple things with the S, actually. First of all, do they like to try new products or second generation proven solutions? Which one would be the high S? Which one would be the low S? And here we go to the answer. Proven products, no risk, high S. New products, low S. Here's another one. Observe how they display their emotions. Which one do you think would be hiding their emotions, just emotional as the rest of us, but they hide them? And which one would display their emotions? The high S or the low S? All right, here we go to the answer. High S hides the emotions, low S displays the emotions. And last but not least, discerning the high or low C. Do they prefer to respect the rules or do they take risks to achieve their goals? Which would be the high C? Which would be the low C? You can do this. All right, there we are. High C respects the rules. The low C takes risks. Now, what motivates these behaviors? I'm glad you asked. Everyone has 6 work values or motivators, and each motivator has 2 opposite driving forces. Now, these are in varying intensities. So the game, and I do not mean manipulation, is to identify and appeal to the other person's most intense 1 to 2 values on the job. Now, we're going to discuss that in the next lesson. We talked about behaviors. Behaviors are how you do things. Then we're going to move to the why. That's a motivator. So lesson 4, discerning communication behavioral preferences. Look back on it. Is there anything you would have changed with someone recently if you had realized, oh, that person is a high, whatever it might have been? Okay? Think about that. Answer the 5 questions here. Maybe there's something you want to change in your approach that can help you better identify their preferred communication style so you can serve them better. That's all for now. Bye-bye.